Hello everybody, welcome on our episode 5 of our guided walk in northern part of the Serengeti. My name is Robert Liza, and behind the camera we have Stephen James, all the way from Lemala Kuria Hills Camp. So today on our guided walk, we're gonna show you and tell you a little bit about one of the very beautiful fig trees that we have around the camp here, which is well known as a Ficus Sycomorus, or a sycamore fig. Some of the people used to call that name. So come with me, please. Alright, so guys, what right behind me is what we call a Ficus Sycomorus, or a sycamore fig, as I told you before. It is one of the very beautiful trees, as you can see, very big, with very big branches and wide, by the way, and could be a very good place for the leopards to be here. We've been experiencing the leopards up in these trees, and actually what I made sure I did is before I got close to this tree, I used my binocular to make sure that there's no any leopard up in these branches, because I don't want to really be standing here talking to you guys and there's a leopard up here. So this tree has got so many interesting stories, but one among the stories is that most of the people used to think that, or other believes that the tree is flowerless, or it has got no flowers completely, which is not really true. If you have ever get close to this tree, you'll find some things like these ones. Looks very much like the fruits, but not really fruits. These are what are the flowers of this plant. So scientifically we call them Syconium, and it is one of the very important things in this tree, as this tree also associates with one of the very, very small insects, which is known as a fig wasp. So we normally say there's no fig wasp without these trees, and there's not actually these trees without the fig wasp. So they've got a relationship, very important one, which call it an obligate mutualism, which means neither of the species could survive without the others. So what happens there? The fig wasp lays their eggs inside these syconiums, and if you can watch this syconium very closely, it seems to be covered all around, but there is a very tiny opening that could not be seen easily, and through this opening is where the female fig wasp enters and lay the eggs inside. And what happens when trying to enter in this syconium, as the opening is too small, she cannot actually enter inside easily, so she loses the wings and the antenna at the same times. But finally she gets inside and she lays the eggs, and in between 2 to 3 days she dies. And what happens there after the female dies, the eggs will hatch later in a few days to come. And the first one to hatch is always the male, who is wingless and blind. So what happens after the male hatch? He met with the females inside that syconium, and after mating with the female, he digs a tunnel for these females to fly out, and the females later on fly out, and by the time they're flying out, she passes into a male flower, and there she collects pollens. After collecting that pollens, she fly out, and by using the sense of smell, she finds the other figs around and enters the syconium again, as her mother did. And when trying to enter the syconium is when she loses the wings again, but later on she gets inside, she lays the eggs, and she pollinates that syconium at the same time, because remember she has a lot of pollens in her body. So she pollinates the tree at the same time, and at the same time she lays the eggs, and into between 2 to 3 days she dies again, and that's how the cycle of their life goes. So actually we can see how important this tree is for this fig wasp, and also this fig wasp is very, very important insect in this huge tree. Apart from the fig wasp, the tree is still very, very important to so many animals in the ecosystem. As you see, the trunk is so big. We've been experiencing the buffaloes and even the elephants coming down these trees, scratching their bodies in this trunk. But also, by these very big branches, it's a very good elevation point for the leopard. So we've been also experiencing the leopards up in these trees, spending their days hanging their food, and also it's a very good spot for them to see the prey. But also it is very good for source of food to different primates like the baboons and the monkeys as well. You may sometimes find a lot of them up in this tree hanging, enjoying these Syconiums. They really love them. And not only baboons, but a lot of birds as well, like the pigeons. We have these mouse birds, and even the yellow-vented bulbul. You'll find a lot of them just up in this tree enjoying this Syconium. So they really love them. But for its wide branches, also the tree produces the shade. During the hot and sunny days, you may experience a lot of different mammals like zebras, even these big ones like elephants and buffaloes, and even the wildebeest and some impalas enjoying the shade and the breeze during the hot days. So you can see how much this tree is still important to these animals in the ecosystem. And out of the ecosystem, I remember very well because I grew up in a village. We have been using this tree as a medicinal plant. So just in case you have some stomach problem, or the chest cough, or even back pain, or even this like this ringworms or diarrhea, this tree is very helpful. So what you do, you just take the leaves of this tree, take the bark and the roots, and you boil together. And thereafter you get the decoction, and the decoction you get is what you drink either 3 times a day, 4 to 5 days, and I promise your problem will be over. I have a very good experience of this tree. I used to be taking, and I'm still taking as well. So instead of the pills from the hospital, this is what we've been using when we were little boys in our village. Okay, so guys, that is a little bit I wanted to tell you about this Ficus Sycomorus. I hope you have learned something and you have got something to tell about this tree. So guys, I remind you, my name is Robert Liza, and behind the camera was Stephen James. We're still looking forward to bring you another episode of our guided walk in northern part of the Serengeti, all the way from Lemala Kuria Hills Camp.